Hey, what's up, everybody? I just realized that I used the wrong microphone, so it sounded awful. So we're going to do this again. If you've been struggling to get appointments organically through social media and you're sick of doing it yourself, it's time consuming, you make all excuses in the world not to do it. And so your pipeline's struggling, you're not getting enough leads, you're not getting enough appointments, you're not getting enough sales. Then today I'm going to share with you a process that's going to help you to hire an appointment setter, a full-time person for your team that's spending 40 hours a week doing nothing but booking appointments for your business. Okay. So if you've been doing it all on your own and you're ready to kind of hand that off to somebody, or maybe you've got a bunch of appointment setters and you just want the easy button to hire another one, you want to do it fast, you want to do it efficiently, and or you're maybe one of those people that is just starting out and you want to skip all the mistakes and roadblocks that you're going to run into when you're hiring a new appointment setter, today's training is for you. Now I'm going to skip all the additional stuff and we're just going to get right into the training because my microphone was messed up earlier. And so I want you guys to be able to hear this stuff well. So let's go ahead and open up the training and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so how do we hire a Rockstar appointment setter in less than 48 hours without creating any new training, without reading a single resume, and without having to babysit new hires? Well, I'm going to give you a process that's going to help you to do that today. But the first thing that I want to do is I want to actually talk about the process involved in hiring an appointment setter. Okay, so this is going to be the step-by-step process that you're going to have to take if you're going to be hiring an appointment setter yourself. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to want to create all of your documented processes up front. You're going to want to create all of your SOPs and your training manuals before you even think about hiring an appointment setter. Now we use a tool called ClickUp. We have all of our step-by-step processes in ClickUp. You don't have to use a tool like ClickUp. You can use something as simple as a Google document and then just outline the steps in a checklist format. And then that is your SOP or your standard operating procedure around that particular process. You'll also want to have some video training for them to make it easier for them to watch and understand and start doing the process. And so you can do something as simple as a Loom video and you can attach it to your Google Doc or your SOP, or you can have a training portal. So something like Google or Go High Level memberships, or maybe a Kajabi portal. So that's going to help you to have a place where you can train your employees on all of your different processes. Okay. So now, once you have the training, once you have the processes in place, you're going to want to post a job description on recruiting sites. So a couple of the recruiting sites that we go to now, these appointment setters that I'm talking about are from like the Philippines, Pakistan, some are from Latin America. They're not the US-based appointment setters that are doing, a lot of different outreach strategies like cold calling, stuff like that. So just wanted to get that straight. So we're looking for people, in the Philippines, Pakistan, and Latin America. So our favorite places to recruit our appointment setters are onlinejobs.ph. This is basically a job board in the Philippines where you can find all kinds of different virtual assistants. So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to buy a subscription. It's like $60 a month or something like that. And then you post your job post. And then you're going to start getting a lot of applications and you're going to start wanting to review those resumes. Okay. We'll get into that in a second. Some of the other places you can post job posts are on Upwork. A lot of people are just doing like kind of gigs on Upwork and taking project-based work, but you can also find people that are looking for full-time employment on there. So that's another one you can post your job post to. Also, you can do Facebook groups. Now, little caveat with Facebook groups, when you post something in Facebook, you're going to get a ton of people commenting and reaching out to you in the DMs and sending you messages trying to get you to, hire them. So just beware of that. It's going to get very overwhelming. And so, but you can find some good people on Facebook. Okay. You just need a better process, maybe an application or something that they need to go through before you actually talk to them. Okay. So then another one, if you want to find highly qualified people and more upper echelon type people, LinkedIn is a great place. If they're on LinkedIn, they're serious about employment, they're serious about their career. So that's a great place to find them as well. Now, once you've done your job posting, and back to the training is going to take you a long time. I'm going to say 2 hours minimum. That's probably going to be the longest part of this whole process, is getting those processes and training in place. the job posting's fairly quick. You can do that probably in 30 minutes or less. And then you're going to have to review all of the applications that are coming in. So you're going to get a lot of applications. So this could probably take you a couple of hours. That's going to be kind of tedious work. You're going to have to review all of them, make sure they're a good fit, and then kind of figure out which ones are the best candidates. Okay. Once you find those top candidates, then you're going to invite those people to an interview. Okay. A little tip when you're running these interviews, I would invite them to a group interview. So you'll invite all the top candidates to a group interview on Zoom, and you can put all of the interviewees into the waiting room, and then you can let them in one by one to actually interview them on an individual one-to-one basis. And then once you figure out who your top candidates are, and that's going to probably take, I mean, if you have like 5 or 10 candidates, they probably take an hour. If you wanted to run, an interview for 5 top candidates, probably an hour. Then you're going to hire one, and you're going to give them, and if you've got the budget, I'd say go ahead and hire 2 or 3 just to test some different ones out and see which one's best. And then you're going to give them a trial period. So it's going to be anywhere from 1 week to 4 weeks to kind of see if they actually can follow directions, if they do a good job, if they get results, and then you'll kind of figure out which one you actually want to hire long-term. Now, once you hire that group of people, you're going to actually have to train them. So you're going to have to add them to your training portal, give them your SOPs so that they can actually perform the work and understand how it works. Okay. Then once you actually train them, then you're going to have to manage them. Okay. So some of the tools we actually use for training or managing our appointment setters are, first of all, they're going to need a VPN. So if they're logging into your profiles, your social media accounts in different countries, and you're in the US or UK, then they try to log in from their account, from their location. All the different social media channels are going to look at that as that's going to be a red flag. Okay. So you need to get a VPN or some way to have them log in or look like they're logging in somewhere close to you, so it doesn't raise as big a red flag. This is more of a safety, extra safety measure, added layer of safety. You don't necessarily, I've definitely done it without the VPN, but just to keep your account safe, I highly suggest it. Slack is a great communication tool. We use this every day to communicate with our appointment setters as well as the rest of my team. So it's an invaluable piece of software that we use every single day. So highly suggest Slack for communication. For tracking time, we use a tool called Time Doctor. So Time Doctor allows you to track how long people are working, and then you can it takes screenshots throughout the specified time that you tell it to, and you can actually go in and review the screenshots to make sure that they're not sitting idle for hours on end and not really doing their work. Okay. So that's another thing to do. And then tracking sheets. You want to have tracking sheets so you can track your results, and so you can optimize your results after time. So you want to make sure that you're tracking everything. Also, you want your appointment setters to submit a Loom report at the end of every day so you can actually see that they're performing the tasks that you've assigned to them. Okay. So that's a great way, some tools that you can use to manage your team once you've hired them. So, but you can see that this whole process is pretty tedious. It's pretty time consuming, and it's going to be kind of annoying. Okay. So, and it doesn't come without challenges either. Now let's talk about some of the challenges you're going to face when you're trying to do this all on your own. So first of all, if you don't have a proven process that's working right now to book appointments, and then you try to hire an appointment setter and just expect them to magically go out and start booking a ton of appointments, you're going to be disappointed. You need something that's working right now. You need some kind of proven process that works before you want to go out and hire an appointment setter. Okay. And we just walked through all the different steps that it's going to take you to actually go out and recruit, hire, train, and manage an appointment setter. So you're looking at least a minimum of 10 hours to do this process. So then once you've hired them, you actually have to go out and you got to train them, you got to manage them. And that's also time intensive. And then finally, there's a huge turnover rate when it comes to appointment setters. Now you can offset that if you've got good documentation for your processes, you've got good training, but it's not going to totally eliminate the possibility that they're going to disappear on you. Okay. So you need to be aware of that, and you need to plan for it, because when that happens, you're going to have to start this whole process all over again. Okay. So, you definitely want to have all those training and processes in place to minimize this potential possibility, but it doesn't eliminate it. Okay. So, can you imagine how frustrating it's going to be when you have to start that process all over again, and you're going to lose time? You're going to lose precious time that you could be having appointments that are actually doing the outreach for you. And that's going to be a lot of appointments, going to be potential revenue that you're losing. Okay. So now I want to ask you a quick question. Would it be okay if I show you an easier way to do this, a faster way, a more efficient way that you can skip all the time it's going to take you to actually go out and recruit, train, and manage these folks, and really just push a button and be able to recruit these people and have a new appointment setter within 48 hours? Does that sound okay? Is that cool if I do that? All right, I'm going to do it. So how do you hire an appointment setter in 48 hours? How's that even possible? And how do you do it without creating any new training? How do you do it without having to read any resumes and having to babysit these new? Okay, you need to find a partner that has the infrastructure and the processes to quickly recruit, train, hire, and manage your appointment setter in your business within days and not weeks. So if you do it yourself, it's going to take you a much longer time. If you hire a partner, they can get you up and running within a few days. Okay. So you're also there's lots of benefits to this. So you're going to get a fully trained appointment setter. They're already trained on the process. They're ready to go, and you can get one in a lot quicker time. So they're going to be able to get you appointments faster. Okay. You can also have that full-time expert working 40 hours a week for you, and just working exclusively on booking you appointments. So you've got speed to launch. You can get set up and running and bring in appointments very quickly. Again, a partner can guide you on your strategy. So they're working with a lot of different niches. They're working with a lot of different clients. So they know what works, and they can help you to kind of tweak your strategy, tweak your script to get it actually working and booking appointments. So you got that benefit of having a proven process and a partner that's going to help you to work on your strategy. Also, it's going to save you time. They're already going to have their training in place. They're already going to have their SOPs created. You don't have to spend hours sifting through a bunch of resumes. You don't have to spend hours running Zoom interviews trying to pick the best candidates. And you don't have to spend time getting them up to speed and holding their hand while they actually learn how to book appointments. Okay. So you don't have to spend your time micromanaging them. You don't have to repeat the process when somebody actually leaves you or you lose one of your appointment setters. You don't have to start that whole process all over again and then, take that same 10, 12, 20 hours to hire a new appointment setter. So it's really just, and hiring the appointment setter is really just the first step in this process. Once you've hired them, then the real fun begins. Okay. So how do you actually, you're probably asking yourself, how do you manage them? How do I manage them efficiently? And especially if this is your first appointment setter and you don't have a lot of experience with this, it's going to be a lot more time consuming than you think. So how do you actually manage a team of appointment setters in less than 15 minutes a day? So here's a list of things that you should be doing every day with your appointment setter. This is a list of things your appointment setter should be doing every day. Okay. So I'm going to give you the list that they should be going through. So if you want to mark this down, this can be part of your process. So they're going to be finding qualified prospects. Number one, they're going to be sending connection requests, and we're talking about social media outreach. So they're going to be sending connection requests to these qualified candidate or qualified prospects. Then once someone accepts their connection request, then we're going to send icebreakers, is what we call them, but initial messages. Okay. And then we're going to manage those conversations, those back and forth conversations, and try to move them towards booking a phone call. And then we're going to also they're going to also follow up with unresponsive prospects. So a lot of people are busy. They are not going to answer you all the time on the first message. So you need to make sure that you're following up with the people that are unresponsive, especially the people that you've already had back and forth conversation with. If you're just starting out with a couple of messages and they haven't responded to you yet, sometimes I don't want to bother with those people. They've obviously, not interested. But with the people that you've had back and forth conversation with, you definitely want to continue to follow up with those people after just one or two messages, because everybody's busy. They're not going to answer you right away. You also want to follow up with all your old qualified prospects. These are people that you've had great conversations with, maybe you've even had on a sales call. The fortune is all in the follow-up. That's not just a cliche statement. It really is. So if you've had these qualified candidates that you had sales calls with, you definitely want to keep touching base with them, keep showing value, sharing value, showing up. And eventually a lot of those people are actually going to turn into clients. So that's another piece that your appointment setter should be doing every day. And then they need to be sharpening their skills. Now, they're going to be doing a lot of outreach, and they're going to get really good at it, much better than you would dabbling in it and just spending a couple of hours a day. They also need to be learning new trends and strategies and things that are working and testing different things out to start improving and getting better results. Okay. Now, if you work with a partner, this is what your partner should be doing every day. Okay. So they need to be offering on-demand training and support for the setter. If the setter has any issues, they don't need to come to you. They need to go to the partner and get the help. They also need to provide that on-demand training so that the appointment setter can go in, they can learn new strategies, they can, sharpen their skills like we talked about. A partner can also help you track their time and review timesheets and track their time so that they make sure that your appointment setter is working. So you don't need to be spending all your time micromanaging them, checking on to see if they're actually doing their work. Your partner should be doing that. Okay. Also, your partner should help you to review results, analyze your metrics, and spot any bottlenecks in the actual campaigns. Okay. And then they need to alert you of those issues to help you to try to tweak the messaging when it needs to improve your results. So what we do is I review our metrics with all of our clients every single week. If I spot something that's off and they're not getting enough appointments, then I will actually dig into FlowChat, which is the tool we use to manage all of our outreach for our clients. And then I can actually come in here, I can look at the reports and I can diagnose where the bottlenecks are. And then I'll do a Loom report, share that with the client, and show them where they need to kind of focus their, optimization. And then the partner also needs to answer any process related questions. You don't need to spend your time, dealing with, hey, FlowChat's not working, or Facebook's blocking me, or whatever the case may be. Your partner needs to manage all that, so you're not sitting there, going back and forth with your appointment setter in Slack all the time, wasting your day. Also, they need to review the daily reports. We talked about those Loom reports to make sure that your clients are doing the tasks. That needs to be your partner's job. Okay. You don't need to be spending your time worrying about that. Your partner should do that to make sure that they're doing their tasks they're assigned to, and they're actually doing the work that they should be doing to get you appointments. Now, if you're working with a partner, what should you be doing, and how can you manage an appointment setter in 15 minutes a day or less? Okay. So one thing that you should be doing if you hire an appointment setter through anybody, or if you're even working with hire your appointment setter yourself, you need to be meeting with them every single day, every morning, to review conversations and review results. So what that is going to do for you is you're not doing the outreach anymore, but you still need to have a feel for how people are responding and how your messaging is resonating with those people. And the only way you can do that is if you're meeting with your appointment setter every single day and you're kind of opening up Messenger and kind of going over through some of the conversations. You're going to get a good feel if people are having a good response to your message or a negative response. And if you're having a negative response, you probably need to tweak some of the messaging. Okay. So that's important to meet with them every single day to kind of do that. Tweak messaging is needed. We just talked about you need to meet with your appointment setter every day to kind of get a feel of how it's resonating with your target audience. If it's not resonating, then you need to tweak that messaging. Okay. And then you need to answer any business and conversation specific questions from your prospects. Now, there are going to be times when your appointment setter won't be able to continue the conversation and you might have to step in. I'd say this happens about 10% of the time or less. And many of these will actually turn to appointments. So you need a system and you need to be ready for this when the conversation goes off script and your appointment setter can't really answer the questions anymore. When you step in, you're the expert and you can really drive that person over the line to actually book the appointment. Okay. Now, how do you actually guarantee results with your appointment setters? Now, there are ways that you can make sure that you get the best results possible. One of those is staying on top of trends. Okay. One thing I know after doing this for 3 years is that things change. Okay. What's working now might not work 6 months from now. Okay. So you need to be consistently learning and keeping up with what kind of strategies other businesses are using in your niche, as well as other niches to actually book appointments. And by doing this, you can kind of stay ahead of the game and really kind of beat your competitors out because you know what's working now. Okay. Also, you want to make data-driven decisions. This is why we track results. You can't improve what you're not tracking. So you need to track results at all times. Make sure you're tracking results. Make sure you're reviewing those with your partner. And that's going to help you to get the best result possible. That's going to help you to get guaranteed results. Also, those daily conversation reviews. Remember, meeting with your appointment setter every day to kind of review conversations will help you to get that feel that you need to understand how your messaging is resonating with your target audience. And then finally, weekly results review. You need to be going over your tracking sheets every week to kind of look at the data and see where the bottlenecks are, if there are any, and then you can make a plan to actually optimize the messaging and optimize your conversation flow. Now, how can a partner help with this stuff? Well, a partner should offer weekly training and support calls to answer any of your setter questions. Okay, so what we do with our setters is every week, on Tuesday morning, I meet with all of our setters. They come in, they tell me any challenges they're having, they tell me any questions they might have. If somebody's crushing it, then we'll talk about what strategies they're using. They can share it with the rest of the appointment setters, and then they can go out and try to implement it with their client. So that's one thing that we do. We also offer 3 days of training every single week. So all of our setters can come in and get some new training, anything new that's coming out. We try to stay ahead of the trends. They also have a community of other setters from other niches. So they're sharing ideas, they're sharing knowledge, they're sharing different strategies that are working for them right now. And that helps to, again, stay on top of the trends that are working in different niches as well as the niche that you're in. They also have the ability to look at larger data sets. So we're compiling data across multiple different clients in multiple different industries, so we can start to set benchmarks. And we know when there's a low response rate, a low connection acceptance rate, a low booking rate, and then we can go in, we can dive into the actual stats and flow chat, diagnose the problem, and then help their client to optimize the results. And then finally, the weekly stats review with an analyst to spot any bottlenecks. This kind of goes back to looking at the larger data sets. So what I do every single week is I jump on with my team. We go over the numbers. If there's any numbers that kind of sound low, I'll dig into actual flow chat, get a little bit more granular into the actual messaging conversation and the response rates, and try to diagnose what the issue is, shoot a Loom video, send it over to the client so they can optimize those results. So that's it, guys. I did this twice now because my audio went out, or had bad audio on the first one. So hopefully this sounded a little bit better than the first one. If you guys need help with this, you don't want to spend all that time going out recruiting, interviewing, creating new training, creating SOPs. You want just a fast and easy way to get an appointment setter, then comment setter in the comments, and I myself or somebody from my team will reach out to you. We can schedule a call. We can see what you need. And if it's something we can help you with, we can talk about what that would look like. But if you need help getting a setter, you don't want to go through all this process. You don't want to worry about somebody leaving you and starting that whole process over again, because we have a replacement guarantee that will replace them within 48 hours if they end up leaving. You don't want to deal with all that stuff and you just need help getting a setter, type setter in the comments and we'll reach out to you and schedule an appointment. Now, with that being said, I will take any questions. I know probably a lot of y'all tried to stick with me on the first call. So if there's any questions, let me know and I'll try to stick around and answer them for a few minutes. If not, I will cut it off for the day. Any questions? All right, I'm not seeing any questions coming through, so I will cut it off for today. But again, if you guys need any help getting any setters, then drop setters in the comments. If you are watching this and either live or on the replay and you need the replay, drop hashtag replay in the comments and I'll make sure you get a recording of this training. So again, thank y'all for joining me. Thank y'all always for joining me. I know y'all are taking a lot of your precious time to watch these things. So thank y'all. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.